There's an image I keep returning to whenever life gets loud all at once. A candle standing in strong wind and a hand cupped around it. Not to make the wind stop, but just to keep the flame from going out. Love, in certain seasons, looks exactly like that. I remember one year when both of us were running on empty at the same time. My work had hit its hardest stretch of the year. The person I love was dealing with a hard situation back home, something that dragged on for months without any clean resolution. We weren't fighting because we'd stopped loving each other. We were fighting because neither of us had anything left to give, and we kept trying to give it anyway. Some nights we'd sit across from each other at dinner with nothing to say, not out of anger, just out of having nothing left in the tank. There was a stretch of weeks where we barely asked each other a real question. Not because we'd gone cold. We were both spending every bit of strength just staying upright, with nothing left over to look after the person standing next to us. For a long time, I read that as a sign the relationship was fading. At the time, it just felt like failing at something that used to come naturally. Looking back now, I think it was actually the opposite. That was the moment the wind was blowing hardest, and both of our hands, cupped around the same small flame, were shaking. There was one evening, right in the middle of that stretch, when I came home very late. My mind was completely empty. I had nothing left to say to anyone, and I was planning to go straight to bed without a word. On the nightstand, there was a glass of water, already poured, sitting right where I'd see it. No note. No mention of it the next morning. Just a glass of water, but I stood there looking at it for longer than it deserved. Because I understood something in that moment. In the middle of a week where neither of us had the energy to check in on the other, this person still remembered to do one small thing, while running on the exact same empty tank I was. It wasn't a romantic gesture. It was small enough that most people would walk right past it without noticing. I think most real care looks like that, quiet enough that you could miss it if you weren't paying attention. But I think that's exactly what the hand cupped around the candle looks like in real life. Not dramatic, not guaranteed to be enough, just an attempt to shield whatever it can, for as long as it can. After that night, I started paying closer attention. Not looking for grand romantic proof that everything was fine, just noticing the small things that kept happening anyway, in the middle of everything falling apart. A blanket pulled up over my shoulder while I was half asleep. A single message in the middle of a terrible day, saying nothing more than that they were thinking of me. Neither of us ever gave these things a name, we just kept doing them, week after week. None of it fixed the actual problems we were dealing with that year. None of it made the wind stop. But it meant the flame kept burning, barely, long enough for the wind to eventually pass. I try to do the same now, even on the weeks when I feel like I have nothing left. Not some big gesture, just one small thing, chosen on purpose, even when it would be easier to let it go until things calm down. I used to think caring for a relationship was hardest during the big, obvious crises. Now I think the real test is something quieter. Caring for someone when the weather is calm is not difficult. Any hand can shelter a flame when there's no wind at all. The harder thing, the thing that actually tells you something, is holding on to a little bit of tenderness while you yourself are barely standing. I don't think a lasting love is a love that never runs into a great wind. I think it's a love where, in the middle of that wind, someone still remembers to pour a glass of water. Not because there's energy to spare, but because some small part of them chooses to spend the last of it on exactly that. So here's what I keep asking myself now. In your relationship, or in your own life with the people you love, is there a small glass of water being poured somewhere right now? Quietly, in the middle of a wind nobody's talking about.